Hello there. This is your introduction to the cardiovascular system. What I would like for you to do before we get started, if you have not already done so, you need to print off the student version of this that I sent you through Remind, and then you're going to be filling in blanks as we go. So pause this video if you need to so you can go print that off. It just helps you be engaged a little bit more. This is not going to be a long presentation right here. All right, so the first thing we do when we talk about any new system of the body is we talk about the functions. And for the cardiovascular system, there are two functions that I want to talk about. One is that the cardiovascular system carries oxygen and nutrients in the form of glucose to all the cells in your body. And I know that this may seem a little bit obvious, but the oxygen is the oxygen that we breathe in when we just take a breath and it comes into our lungs. Since you were probably in second or third grade, you were told that animals take in oxygen, and that's what we do when we're breathing. And then the nutrients, the glucose, is a product of the cellular respiration that takes place in our mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. And then the nutrients, the glucose, is absorbed through your digestive system, which we'll get to later after we finish the cardiovascular system. Hopefully we'll be live for that in person. So that's one function of the cardiovascular system. Remember, cardiovascular system is just transportation through the body. It's not the blood that is important, it's what's in the blood, the oxygen and nutrients. And then the other half of the cardiovascular system's function is to carry carbon dioxide and liquid waste away from all cells of the body. Carbon dioxide is a waste product. Animals take in oxygen, they give off carbon dioxide. Plants love that because they need the carbon dioxide. We don't. We want to get rid of it. So the carbon dioxide is one of the waste products of cellular respiration that happens in the mitochondria, that is the powerhouse of the cell. And then the liquid wastes are the result of metabolic processes that are happening inside your cells. And those liquid wastes are going to be filtered out by the kidneys and then turned into urine. So there's your two functions of the cardiovascular system. And I wanted to do just an overview of heart structure before we get started. I know that this is probably review for you, but just stick with me on this. So your heart is made up of 4 chambers. There are 2 upper chambers, 2 lower chambers, and then it's split into right and left. The 2 upper chambers are called the atria. That's the plural, atria. Atrium is singular. So you have 1 left atrium and 1 right atrium. Together you have 2 atria. And then the bottom 2 chambers are called ventricles. And these ventricles are the more muscular of the chambers because the atria, their only job is to receive blood coming back to the heart from the body and then pass it along to the ventricles. So the atria don't really have to be very muscular. They're just basically taking the blood and moving it to the next place. The ventricles have to be the more muscular of the chambers because they have to pump the blood out to all the rest of the body. And we'll get into that more later when we're talking about the heart structure specifically. And hopefully you'll be able to see this difference in musculature. I do have some deer hearts at home, so if I need to do a dissection via video, we can do that. Hopefully again though, we'll be able to do it live and in our classroom together. The last part of the heart structure that I want to mention is the valves. Most of the time when you think of valves, actually most of the time you don't think of valves, but you have valves in the plumbing in your house. That's what turns your water on and off. You're changing or opening and closing a valve. You have valves in your car that allow for gasoline to come into your engine. Your heart has valves too, but the valves in your heart are a little bit different. Their job is to prevent blood from flowing backwards. Because you don't want blood to be going from the right ventricle back to the right atrium. You always want to make sure the blood is moving forward, and the way to do that is to put a gate in between the right atrium and the right ventricle so that once the blood goes through, it can't go backwards. So every time that blood leaves the chamber of the heart, there is going to be a valve. And I know this is a shocker, but this is the end of the presentation. So you are now ready to go on to the next video, that is blood flow through the heart and body number 1.